So good morning, everyone. I hope the coffee was strong enough to help you recover. Yeah, I apologize for the whiskey voice this morning. This gentleman who's taking video now or photo is responsible for it. He dragged me into a drinking session. I told him I'm not a drinker. He doesn't believe me. So thank you for attending this session. I hope we'll make it interesting. Just before I start, I would like to mention that you will see a lot of focus in my presentation on the digital aspect of it. There are so many capable companies in this conference who are equipping the stations with the right pumps, with the right ATGs, with the right technology to run the fuel business. We see our role on top of that to put the layers that would help the petroleum companies run their business more efficiently and make payments and customer experience at retail outlets much more pleasant. So who we are headquartered in Singapore as a company. We have offices in almost every Southeast Asian market. We started only in 2013 as a startup. Today we are in 5-6 markets. We deal with the top brands. You can see a lot of the banks in Southeast Asia and fintechs working with us. So we had a tremendous journey. But we are part of a larger group, which includes a company in India called AGS, which has been in the fuel business since 2004. In case you're wondering how do we acquire the knowledge of how we automate stations and what do we do on the digital space. So we are the digital specialist. We stitch the products with our sister company AGS, which is doing the fuel automation. Therefore, we are able to give you an end-to-end solution in this regard. So if we move to the next slides, so let's start with a simple question. Why digital? Why are we talking about digital? Does it really help the business of fuel? It is helping everyone today. It is helping retailers. It is helping taxi companies. It is helping any kind of business to go to market and to facilitate payment in a very interesting way. We see the attack of the QR code into every industry. We see Alipay, WeChat Pay. We started our first app with accepting QR code payments in 2013 when we started the company, and the bankers laughed at me when I was showing them a prototype. When Alipay came and invaded the whole market, they started asking, how soon can we launch ours? So it's always like this when you talk about new innovation. You can see even a traditional retailer like Walmart, on their self-service checkout, they are not just accepting cards. They are also using mobile wallets to make payments. And why mobile wallets and why getting this digital piece is so important? Because you can stitch to it a lot of aspects of running your business, like understanding your customer behavior, like keeping track of all your transactions, like loyalty, like maybe avoiding altogether issuing plastic, which is an expensive proposition. Virtual issuance is one of those things that are taking the industry by surprise. So we have to keep an open mind on how we do these things. And open mind means even beggars today are using QR code to make sure that you have no excuse. You cannot tell them, I don't have coins and I don't have it. Say, it's fine. Look, just give me 50 cents, scan this. And this is a real picture from the street of Beijing. Yeah. So then now that we have established that it's important to have a digital play in your business, what is that digital play? Who are the involved parties? There are so many. And no one can act on his own anymore. We are in touch with bankers all the time, especially me. I've been 27 years in the banking industry. I have done business in over 50 geographies around the globe. I am so happy that I met so many bankers from so many cultures. All of them agree today that to be able to be successful, they have to work with ecosystem partners. And looking at you in the room today, one of the most impressive and important ecosystem partners for payments, for delivery channels, are fuel companies. They are very much interested in your sites. And as we speak today, Satish, myself, Torsten, the team, we are actually putting together business propositions and models in various parts of Asia where we are bringing a bank, a fuel station, a retailer all together. And our role is basically putting the digital assets in between to help all these guys come together in a profitable way, in a manageable way, that they are able actually to measure the success of their business, facilitate payment. And I'm sorry if I come back always to the customer experience bit. At the end of the day, none of our businesses will be successful if our customers are not happy. So we cannot ignore the fact that profit is important, location of station is important, all of that is important, but how do we make the client, the end user who is coming to the station happy, irrespective of who is that end user? He could be a guy riding a bike. He could be a driver sent to the station to fill up fuel. In Southeast Asia, believe me or not, more than 20–30% of the cars that come to the stations are actually not driven by the owner. And more than 40% of vehicles that come to fill up fuel are either two-wheeler or three-wheeler. So we have to have an open mindset into how do we facilitate transaction. If I know that this guy doesn't have purchasing power, but I still want him to stay 20 minutes in the station, I am not doing a good favor to my business. I would like him to hit, fill, leave as soon as possible and make his boss happy, because his boss knows I sent my driver, he filled up fuel very efficiently and came back, and I have the record on my mobile. In fact, when the driver fills fuel at the station, instantly I get a notification while sitting in my office that my vehicle has been filled with 95 at this station, at this pump. If you want, we can even go to the name of the attendant and everything else, because we have all the details. So this is basically so important to have a digital blueprint, getting all the people together. Therefore, it influenced heavily our portfolio. We as a company, our portfolio is heavily dependent on equipping ecosystem partners sitting in between the user and the financial institution. We do a lot of work for financial institutions. If you go to a country like Sri Lanka, we built in the last 8 months alone 150 fully automated branches for People Bank of Sri Lanka. And believe me, completely on OPEX model. We didn't charge the bank any single CapEx. They are paying us per branch, per ATM, per transaction, and we are rolling out across the country. So we do work with banks, we understand their needs, but they cannot build enough branches because that's not the right model. Brick and mortar is expensive. So they are looking at how do they work with ecosystem partners to take their proposition to the market. And teaming up with fuel and petroleum stations in Sri Lanka is definitely the way to go. So the first thing happened now that we put them together, that they will have a presence of the bank at the fuel stations. But more than that, the entire payment ecosystem, loyalty, all of this will be stitched together as well, using our digital assets. So, and all of this can be offered on an OPEX model. So later on, I'll be talking about what we do for fuel stations, but keep in mind, please, what we are proposing to you as well is we also don't want to sell you the solution, because that's not the right way. You buy something that is working in 2017 or 2018, and 6 months down the road or in 2019, it stops working because you don't have the right people in-house to keep updating it and upgrading it and making it working. So we believe in partnerships with the fuel companies. We are happy to go on revenue sharing on an OPEX model, equipped with the right technology. If you are successful, we are successful, and we will make sure you are. So what do we do on the fuel transformation? I think I tried hard before a previous event to see, can I put everything on a single slide? Can I show what we can do for you on a single slide? And it did work, took a while. Basically, before I go to that slide, which is interesting and we'll spend time there, why do we need to do that? Because retail experience is becoming at the forefront of everything you guys are doing. If you don't transform your stations, you'll be faced with a lot of issues. Some of them are related to profitability. Some of them are related to branding, because today we heard how important is branding. If your brand is not translating into I'm a better company, then you have a problem. I was in Cambodia a few weeks ago, and I don't want to mention the name of the fuel company, but there is a great shift from traditional fuel providers there into some of the newcomers. And I don't want to take the word of my colleagues for it, so I asked the driver who is taking me. Sam is a guy who takes me around. I asked some tuk-tuk drivers, I asked people on the street. I said, why do you like to fill a fuel at this station? They said, the station is very clean, the toilets are very clean, the service is very quick, and I am confident that the quality is better. And back to the same point. I was wondering how this driver knows that the quality is better. Yeah? There is no way for him to know that the quality is better. But because the station is automated, because the branding is nice and bright, because there is a nice coffee shop inside of the station, and because he sees everything working perfectly, he believes automatically that definitely the quality is okay. And if I'm filling fuel here, I'm not being cheated. So this is where now this retail experience becomes really such an important thing. And transforming those stations into a lifestyle hub is not too difficult. There is one difficult aspect to it. Yesterday there was a question. I stopped myself from answering it before we go into this. Because how do you make sure that you are not just having tenants in your station? So you can rent the property and then they pay you money and so on. But it doesn't come all together. It's about software. If you don't have the right platform, that the people who are coming together with you with the concept of mini shopping mall in your station are not attached to the same software where you can cross-sell, upsell, single loyalty program, make sure that you understand the revenue stream that's happening also in all these shops, and maybe then you are having the courage to say, because I understand the business that's happening not just on the fuel side, on non-fuel, I'm able to go on revenue sharing and I'm able to take a risk and try together to develop our business on that station. And that is exactly also what we offer in that aspect. And one of the key experiences we have found that it makes a lot of sense is pay as you wish. Again, I was in a country, I can say, I was in the Philippines recently, and we met with a petroleum company, and they said they have everything. They have automated, they have the convenience store software, they have the payment on the terminals, they are doing something on the mobile, and I was like, wow, I'm very impressed. So then I said, okay, let me go and have a look at the station. At the station, everything is, automated, but in silos. So the forecourt controller is, yes, controlled by someone, but it's by a PC in a cubicle next to the pumps. If you want to pay, someone has to plug in the amount on the post terminal. If you want to go and buy coffee inside and stuff, and you want to make a single purchase for all your purchases, not possible. You have to pay 3 different times, in 3 different occasions. And you cannot pay with the same instruments. Some is cash, some is with card, some you can get loyalty, some you cannot get loyalty. So how does it help if all of these are on the station, and if you're automated, but you're not getting the full benefit and the full advantage of this? So this is what we refer to as Lifestyle Hub, and I'm going to mention more about this. I'm having the same problem with the clicker, it seems. Okay. So, okay, too fast. So when we talk about fuel experience, so here we would like to take you on a journey from fuel to fuel plus to plus fuel. And I'm sure you heard this terminology multiple times now in many occasions. Fuel means basic fuel services. It could be fully automated, and we are not saying here it's inferior or not. It could be fantastic, quality is good, ATG automation, pump automation, payment automation, clean station, but that is still basic fuel service. So what else are you offering to your customer? Then you can add on it convenience store, car wash, which is an experience we see in many markets, where you have also a convenience store in the station, and you have a good place where you can wash your car. But is that considered really a lifestyle hub? Not yet. So this is what we refer to as fuel plus. So you are selling, in addition to the fuel, other items and making money from the retail space. When we talk about plus fuel, and the picture may not be the best example, but because there is a food mart, service center for car grooming, and all of that, it is the closest that I could find online. In my opinion, it could be much better and much neater, and where you can go there, and we discussed that also yesterday and today, to do much more than just servicing your car and refilling fuel. You can have a time with your friends. There could be a car park attached to it where you don't have to block the forecourt and the pumps, where you can go and have a small meeting, have a coffee, have a chat, free Wi-Fi. It's becoming, and in Africa in many places, and in Cambodia now, wanted to come back to this, this is happening. People are coming to the petrol station, especially young generation, to actually chit-chat and spend time, not just fill up fuel. So remains the point is how easy to pay and how integrated it is, and that's something we want to discuss. That is the one picture I was referring to. Basically, pay as you wish experience. What does it mean? So Torsten drives his car. He is very savvy. He likes technology. He doesn't want to be bothered. He doesn't want to buy anything from the convenience store. He just wants to fill up fuel and leave. I have to respect his wish. If he is finding himself dragged to go to the convenience store and queuing up behind 20 people because that's the only process I'm going to give him, he's probably going to look for another station where he can get his experience of pay by yourself and leave. And what can we offer Torsten for pay by himself? He can simply be sitting in his car. Because of geotagging, we will know Torsten is at Gulf Fuel Station, and because of the error margin of 50 meters, I will not be able to tell which pump, but the app will tell him, which pump are you at? He will just have to say, I'm at pump number 3. And then we will connect to the forecourt controller, retrieve all the values, and give him a fantastic experience. Could be attendant and not attendant, because sometimes there should be someone there pumping for you, and you are still in your car, and you just accept and move. But you could also leave the car, leave the mobile, leave the car, pump the fuel, come back. When you come back, you see all the details on your fuel wallet, and you just execute the payment and leave. He could also simply pay by RFID, because we will equip the nozzle here with the RFID reader, and there is an RFID tag on his vehicle. So the moment Torsten comes to the station, when the attendant plugs in the nozzle, it is automatically identified. We know his mobile wallet. He doesn't need to do anything. The amount that he will fill will be deducted from his wallet. Or he can actually preset an amount, prepaid amount, and then the nozzle will be released to dispense only that amount. And here I have to mention, this is a great solution for fleets, but also for individuals and people who will send their driver to the station to fill up fuel, because there's a lot of fraud that happen in this area. You are not sure whether he filled 98. You're not sure whether he filled everything into the tank. You're not sure what is the arrangement between him and the guy at the petrol station. But with this solution, only the fuel that is going, so the fuel goes only into the tank, because the moment the relationship between nozzle and tank is out, the fueling will stop. And we will know exactly which fuel he set in his wallet for his car. So you cannot, by mistake, fill up any other type of fuel. And all of this happens automated. So this is the self-service experience. But a lot of people in our geography don't like to do any of this. They like to be served, and we understand this. And for us to serve them, we need to make sure the attendant has a single terminal with him, and I insist on single, wireless terminal, that he can take it to the window of the car, where he can ask him, how would you like to pay for your fuel? And he will just simply press the pump number, and it will be retrieved, and then you'll be offered cash, card, loyalty, QR code, Apple Pay, wherever you want. Single terminal, integrated with all the payments. We can even, on the window of this terminal, and all what I'm mentioning now, it's not just PowerPoint, you can go to our stand and see all of this in action. You can generate a dynamic QR code onto the screen of that terminal that you can snap it and make the payment and leave if you wish to use mobile. But you can also pay by cash, and this is very important. Here we are also digitizing cash transactions, because in the past, you know, the guy who's accepting cash is leaving everything in his wallet. It's not linked to the same system that's capturing all the transactions. Now even your cash transaction is becoming a digital transaction, and at the end of the shift, when this guy hands over his terminal, we will know exactly how much money he has in his pocket from those cash transactions. And we know every single transaction of them, which vehicle even. And then comes the in-store payment, where we talk about the lifestyle hub and so on. Here, we don't want to tell him, you have to pay for your fuel outside and you pay inside for all your purchases. We need to generate a single bill for fuel, for cigarettes, even though we are not encouraging smoking, for coffee, for anything. He needs to pay with a single swipe of his car or with a single click of the QR code. That's what the experience should be. And this convenience store app should be also able to accommodate various form factors that you may want to introduce in your lifestyle hub. What do I mean? Fast food, coffee. We can even decide to have a small corner with seated service, with a kitchen. So there will be a kitchen module. All of these things will come together to generate a single bill when you want to make the final payment. The back end is also equally powerful. From the back end of the solution, we will know what is happening with the tank. We will know every pump working, not working, dispensing, not dispensing. We can do preemptive, proactive measures to dispatch the ecosystem partners again, because all the supply chain is also connected through portals. So my own fuel supply or my partner fuel supply or the guy selling me milk or any one of these guys will get notification on his portal saying Ricardo's station is running low, and he can quote pricing. The central purchase will agree or not agree, and the dispatch will happen, and the acceptance of these products in the station also happens automatically without paperwork. All what you need to do, you will be given a digital code. You will have to plug it in, which means you have accepted the delivery. And you will have traceability for all your transactions there. So imagine the implication on AI when you have all this data and you can crunch all this data to come up with predictions, which is what we are not into the AI. We are into introducing that automation layer, and it's up to the fuel stations to use it for analytics, AI, any other predictive measures. I think I wanted to mention something. We also came up with a wireless FCC. So that's not our wish. We are not into hardware business, but we had to do it because when we are talking to many of our customers about this digital layer, many of them were not ready. And when we checked why they are not ready, they said, my forecourt controller is old, or I don't have one, and I cannot automate. So we found ourselves dragged into coming into this because we also don't want to be laying cables in petrol stations and going into a big construction site whenever we want to automate a station. So our entire solution is wireless. The forecourt controller is wireless, and there will be small devices that are in the pumps that are also talking in a wireless mode. All our payment devices are wireless. Basically, we have the experience. Once we have a prototype that is working, it's probably under 1 hour that we can automate an entire station and leave. But however, if you have already automation and you have your own forecourt controller, you can forget about this. We will just connect to your forecourt controller and do everything that we have said before. Same way. There's no difference. So this is a consolidation of what I have just said. We have the service called Fastlane, and Satish reminded me today that so Satish is representing the business in India. He has automated 14,000 stations. Yeah, and we were the first in the world one of the first in the world to introduce that complete connectivity between your wallet and the forecourt to release the payment or to release the forecourt or to control it or to do all that automation. And we were the first in India for sure, but we are also top 5 in the world to do this kind of work. Self-service pay, strong in New Zealand, Australia, some European countries. They even asked for a kiosk. I didn't understand when people asked me for a kiosk in one of the events recently. I said, why do you need a kiosk? He said, for people to pay by themselves. I said, you have your mobile with you. It has a screen. It has a powerful processor. Do you need another box outside? Yes. Okay, we can also do that. No problem. Yeah? So, but we prefer that if you have your mobile with you, it's a much more powerful tool than having a kiosk to make those payments or outdoor station or whatever concept. You need to minimize hardware. Ladies and gentlemen, the industry is moving from device to deviceless. This is happening faster than we expect. In the future, the more you can do without buying hardware and buying cables and buying boxes and buying equipment, the more efficient you will be. But there are some limitations to that approach. But if you can do it, why not? Attendant pay is something big in our geography. Cash, card, and all of this. Our wireless FCC proposition. All the back-end dashboards and controls we can give. And the in-store payment and loyalty and all of this. Fastlane, I want to spend a few minutes also to discuss. So what Satish launched in India is a service called Fastlane. We thought at the beginning it's going to be a good fleet solution for organizations, but even individual users love it. So we had to launch a B2C proposition. You can go online, subscribe. I'm Ricardos. I have 3 vehicles. I want to fill them with 95. These are the plate numbers. And you will just proceed to any of the stations. They will install the RFID tag for you. And these are just individuals. These are not companies. They also believe this is a very efficient way for them to fill up their car. The wife's car, the daughter's car going to the university. She doesn't need to worry about having cards and cash when she's filling up the vehicle. So all of these things are happening as we speak. People are adopting technology and people are liking to use it in this manner. Why us? Why are we different? Why? Because we are not just one party. And we are blessed to be part of a larger group where we have so many knowledge under one roof. So Novus is a digital specialist. We have AGS, which is huge on automation. Just for the sake of understanding what AGS does in India, they have installed over 70,000 ATM in the market, out of which 50,000 are on OPEX model. So utility-based, banks only pay per transaction. They have over 150,000 POS. They have 90% of the organized retailer, including duty-free in airports and all of that. Secure Value is a cash and transit company that we own. And why do we own a cash and transit company? Because we wanted to learn about that business. We wanted to understand the move from cash to cashless. And we wanted to understand the dynamics of that business, how it's happening. And today it's #2 company in India as well. India Transact is into merchant acquisitions and merchant solutioning. We just launched recently a service to our merchants called PayTrack. And I actually didn't see that application until last week, and I was very impressed. Even those guys who have simply a POS terminal from us, nothing else. He doesn't have a billing system. It's a small shop. He just wants to accept cards and QR code. We gave him now an app on his mobile whereby it's like a portal. He can go and check all his transactions, all his reversals, how much money went into his bank account, how much money is pending to go into his bank account. It is boosting the confidence of these guys to accept cards. In the past, if a guy walks into the shop, say, I pay by card, say, can you pay me by cash? Because he wasn't sure if he's getting his money into the bank. So we are even innovating because we understand what these merchants are going through and why are they resisting digital payments sometimes. And of course, Ongo is what the brand we are also using for Fastlane and some of the B2C initiatives to go to market with such digital payments. But we are predominantly a B2B business. We would love to equip the banks and the ecosystem partners with solutions. We would like to avoid as much as possible to do B2C business. And we would love to empower organizations. By the way, 4 or 5 fintechs that are coming to market now, and some of them are very successful in Cambodia, in Oman, in Middle East, are actually using our technology. You don't see Novus. You will see a very successful mobile wallet. It's completely running on our platform from our data center. It's run and driven by our people. They focus on market acquisition. So they raise capital. They have some branding ideas, and they go to market. And they leave the technology and operation part for us. We will run it. We will make sure that they are successful, and we will make sure they have all the security standards in place. Because not too many people can afford to certify their data centers PCI DSS, their software PA DSS, comply to all the standards of Visa, MasterCard, UnionPay, and all these guys. But we can, because we are running a very large payment business. So this is, in a nutshell, what we are doing. And I think I'm a little bit ahead of time. Yeah, 1 minute, 20 seconds ahead of time. Thank you.